It's been a long while. Hey, all right. Let me see here. What do we have? What is going on with this? So it's been a long while since I've done a stream, so bear with me. I've been focusing on rebuilding the space down here. I'm going to give kind of an overview of what I got going on. Now to a point where I can actually restart doing videos, live streams as well as my build videos. So this is kind of the maiden voyage stream for that. So who do we have so far in? We have Nick, we have Sid Eng, we have Mark Davis, and then we got a few other people that haven't said anything yet, which is fine. Can everybody hear me okay? And it looks like my video might be skipping a little bit. Can people confirm that? It says bandwidth, higher than recommended bandwidth. Okay, let me make some adjustments here. Let's do a stream here and video. Make some adjustments. Yes, it's skipping. Okay, big small groups, all good. Yes. All right, stand by. Let me do this real quick. Output, streaming, and let's reduce this down to that, and apply, and hit OK. Let's see here. Let me see if that fixes that. Just got booted. I got booted from the stream. You can handle the stream. Let's see if that fixes it. I'll roll like this. I'll chat a little bit while you guys let me know if everything is still kind of skippy here. See if it's fixed. I'm gonna throw the chat up here on the screen. I can't do this. How do weather people do this? It's over there, right? For the people that aren't on computers or phones where they get the stream going, or if they're watching a live view of this or a replay of it, this gives them the ability to do that. I know it's a little bit annoying for people that are possibly in the stream, but overwhelmingly it helps out people if they are watching the stream and actually do anything of any use. All right, stream's better, Mark Davis. Sid said stream is better now as well, which is great. Turns out my 1080p stream does not need my 4K settings. How about that? Awesome. Cool. Anyways, it's been a long time. I'm just getting over a cold, so I sound a little froggy, pun intended. I've been busy. I've been really busy. It's been summer. I tend not to do a lot of videos during the summer anyhow. So I hope a lot of you guys had a great summer. And if you're down in the southern hemisphere, I hope you had a great winter. Yeah, it's turning into fall and winter up here in New England, in the United States, and we kind of move indoors during that time of year. You know, when it goes from being 75, 85, 95 outside to 65, 55, 45, 5, we like to stay indoors. So yeah, all right. Let's see here, Crapstar. Do you have a day job as well? Yes, I definitely have a day job, and it's not as a weatherman because I can't point in the right directions. My day job, I work about 45 to 50 hours a week in my day job. I am actually an engineer that has nothing to do with 3D printers. I still see some skipping happening over in my stream. Higher than, let me 4,500. Let me make another adjustment here just so we know that we're solid. No one's complaining, but YouTube is still complaining. So the last thing we want is YouTube to complain. Let's do this. Let's do this. And hopefully that doesn't make the video too bad. I'd have to actually drop the bandwidth in half again. So we should make things solid as they can be and easier for everybody to watch. I had a live frog pet kid. It was named Kermit the Frog. Hey, perfect, you know? Yeah, whenever my kids say see a Kermit, they refer to it as Dad, so it's kind of interesting. Of course, you know, anybody under the age of say about 30 doesn't even know who Kermit the Frog is really. So I kind of went through that portion of my life, and now I'm back, and only us adults even know who that is. So anyways, right now I am talking to you on my brand new movable studio cart. So I'm gonna get into some of the stuff I did. This is kind of what this stream is going to be mainly about. I do have a couple things I want to talk about, builds for the winter time. There's two things in particular that we're going to be building. I just had an issue with the Voron, the Ultibib or the Minion, depending on what name you decided you like. Basically the last Voron 2.4 R2 that we just built. Where my Chaotic Lab CNC tap, there's some little M 2.5 inch screws in there that are into aluminum and they stripped out. So don't hold that against them. That's probably my fault for tightening them too hard. I do have a spare, so I'm going to do that. Did we lose him? I don't think we lost him. Who dropped out? You dropped out or I dropped out? Is everybody good? Give me a thumbs up. There's a midstream commercial. It was that last adjustment. Okay. Let's see. Let's see. Focus on your live stream. So, midstream commercial. There shouldn't be commercials during the stream. So, YouTube may have made some changes here. Let me see here. If we're all good, it must be current. Okay. All right, so can you guys see me right now? This is not going very well. There's only 2 concurrent viewers right now because I think everybody got kicked when I dropped my stream bandwidth down again. All right, hello. Try not to say anything too important because I don't know if I'm actually on. I've been away too long. Still here. Okay, Mark is here, so I'm going to assume everybody's still here if they want to be here. Shawdell is here. There we go. Okay, so we got people rolling in. Teething issues, I'm back. Yes, we're recutting our teeth here. My equipment's changed a little bit. YouTube has changed a little bit. They've decided to, I guess, send a video commercial midstream, which is kind of annoying, but I'll look into that. That wasn't something I had to deal with before, and I haven't seen that in other streams. I haven't been watching a lot of YouTube lately, but anyways, so getting back to what I was saying, I am on my wheelie cart here. This is actually my video production cart. I can move it around the room so we can work in different things. I've actually expanded the back area here of the room so that I have more room to work. We have Robert in here. We have, who else is there? Shawdell, yes, hey. So yeah, long time no see everyone, yes. All right. I get sidetracked awful easily, so be careful what you say. You want to load me down a path here. So anyways, I'm going to give you guys a tour of some of the new stuff I got, as well as this new area that I have to make videos in. So I hope I can make videos that have a little bit higher production quality, maybe look a little bit better for you guys, as well as give me more room to work so I can actually get the best video camera angles that I need and the proper lighting and all that type of stuff when I make actual videos as opposed to live streams. Better not be a squirrel because I would chase after it. So anyways, so first and foremost, this again is my cart. I'm going to switch over now to something that a friend of mine I saw using, so I decided to get one as well. Had to refresh the page to get stream back. Oh good, I'm glad you're back. I'm going to move over to my gimbal cam. So this is a new camera. This is a, we gotta get that chat back up. This is a camera. This is a, if any of you guys watch DeWitt 3D Canada, he has a gimbal cam. I've spent some time trying to focus on getting these settings just right for this particular camera, but this will allow me to do my to do my tour of my studio, and in the future when we're doing videos, it will allow me to move around and still stay on camera while we're doing things. So yeah, without further ado, let me stand up and kind of show you guys around a little bit. I'll see if this thing follows me. Yes, there we go. All right. So I haven't got my ceiling in yet, so bear with me. It isn't there, but the studio is all been repainted. Desks, shelving, things like that are in the midst. Let's see here. We like the back of your head, but we like the back of your head. Okay. I'm a fan of that Canadian. Yeah, I'm a fan of that Canadian too. I have Canadian roots, so it's kind of a family member of sorts, right? Natively. So anyways, so right now I'm standing back, and I'm gonna start over here on my right-hand side, which should be the left-hand side of the screen, and kind of show you a little space I have over here. It might be a little bit dark right now because I don't have it set up for videoing. And let's see if we can get that. There we go. Closet, by the way, closet doors now. So it does not, so funny story about closet doors. The closet that was here and has always been here, one of my first 10 videos I ever did, which was a build video, somebody left a comment asking me, because I had a drop cloth hanging over this door because it was a mess inside that area. But the person said, what's behind the curtain? Dead people? Because the drop cloth had some red paint on it and stuff, and it always has stuck out in my mind that it kind of looked ghetto. I mean, I am in a basement, but there's no reason not to try to make it look a little bit better. So anyways, got closet doors on here, which are nice. You can kind of see them. Something that doesn't really important. Over here I have my printer area. So I have room for 3 or 4 printers right here in this area. Smaller printers can go up top right now. I have a bunch of build parts right now for the rebuild of the 2.4. And I have a filament dryer over here. I have networking gear up top, which I need to move into the closet, which I haven't done yet. But yeah, so I got printers in here. Nice solid 2-inch, what is that? It's some type of birch, I guess. So basically that is on a 2x4 pedestal. It is screwed into both sides of the wall as well as the back side of the wall and on top of cabinets. So there's gonna be very little vibration, if any. And then along here, I have my build area, my build zone. I have a soldering area right here. So we're talking about 8 feet here along this wall. Keep all my soldering stuff and whatnot. I have a secondary, and this camera is going to be in the way here in a second, but I got to talk about this camera. I have a secondary computer setup over here, and with that I basically have the ability to control whatever's on that screen, on that setup over here, and I can move stuff over around. I can do a share screen off of this screen while I'm working in this area. And I have a doubled up, basically double keyboard mouse setup here, so I can basically work off of both setups, so I don't have to miss out on bringing you guys into the stream when I'm working on things over here. I'm gonna come back, and my eyes aren't good enough to check the things here. Let's see here. That's a nice auto panning. Thank you. I did play with the settings quite a bit, so hopefully it works out for everybody. Nobody gets seasick. Boy, do I need to build my office. Good idea. It takes longer than you think it will. Let's see here. In a basement, there's not. It's not. I'm in a basement too, so it's not so bad. I agree. You know, studio's looking rad. By the way, thank you. This is a random piece of rock wool on the ceiling for protection. Yes, that is rock wool. Very, very. What does Happy do in his side job? He does audio, or he does home construction video, but that rock wool actually used to be on most of the ceiling. That is one piece that stayed up. So back in the day when I didn't use a Rode lavalier, well, this isn't actually a lavalier, but cordless mic, I had a lot of echo when I was working, so I used to have rock wool up on the ceiling to kind of absorb most of the sound for that. But now that I'm putting a drop ceiling in, which will also help with sound, that's been coming down. But that one piece is still up there, because honestly I forgot it was up there. But I would have found it as soon as I put the ceiling up. Along with new lighting, I have, what do I have? Four 2500 lumen lights that are going to be in the ceiling that come down on this desk area, so lighting will not be an issue. Let's see here. Why the blue? Seems dark. I'll answer that in a second. Honda mechanic, did some construction as a kid. Yes. Well, you know, firewall maybe. So blue, there's 2 reasons. One is you want, from what I understand, from what I've been told, from the research I've done, you actually want your studio to be relatively dark. You want the light where you want the light. You want it to be dark where you don't want the light to be. So basically, if it's not focused on me, and it's not focused on what I'm doing, then relatively dark looks good. It makes the space look bigger on video than it would be, you know, in real life, how a dark space looks smaller. On video, it looks bigger and better. So there you go. Plus, the blue matches my eyes, my wife tells me. So there you go. I'm gonna move this aside for a second. This is something cool too, and we'll talk about that in a second. Still working out a kink on that, but that right there, this is actually a HDMI cordless rig that I'm working on figuring out how to get it batteried so I can move it any place in the studio, whether it be in front of a printer in 3 seconds, or looking overhead, cranking it up to get a high shot on. Jeez, I cranked that down. Getting a high shot on something we're building, anything like that. So basically, this will allow me to move around pretty good and get those uptight close shots too. This is a pretty decent Lumix. Is this a G7? I forget what this is, but I think it's a G7 camera. It's a very good camera. It does 4K. Let's see here. Oh, let's see. Daw. Must be about my blue eyes, huh? So anyways, yeah, getting back to this. So over here, I got my workspace. So pretty thrilled about this. Got the computer area, but on top of that, I have about 6 feet here of building space for building. So I can literally have a 300 by 300 or 400 by 400 on here, fit it on there, and have 2 side by each if I really wanted to. Not that I'm going to do that, but I can really span stuff out. I'm going to move away from this gimbal camera for a second, and I'm going to pop over to that guy right there. And I'm working on that one too. Let me switch over to this. So this one right here, this is my new top-down camera that looks at that 6-foot section of my build surface. And what's neat about this is it is on wheels. We can move this from one point to the other point all the way over. So I can be working here, or I can be working over here, and I can quickly move it around so that you guys can see what I'm doing. Just like the other cameras, it does a zoom, which is pretty nice. Here's a for instance on that. So if we're doing a build like this, and then say, for example, we're working on another piece over here, we can work on that piece here too with the same zoom without having to mess with things, and then go back over to the other piece that we were working on originally. So pretty excited about that as well. Still working on the mount on that a little bit, and I'm going to go back to my Sony camera for a second and see if anybody has any questions thus far about what I've showed you. Overhead on wheels is nice. Yes, I said nice, but I said noise. I think it is too. Focus. So, yeah, so that's kind of a generalization of that space. And then I really got to show you what's behind us, or behind you, in front of me, behind you, video-wise. And then I'm not going to do much more with this cordless camera thing because, again, I'm trying to work out the battery thing for that. So, yeah, so what I will do now is I will show you, actually, I got to get that camera up and running. All right, let me do it. I'll get this camera up and running. Give me a second. I'll switch back over to the gimbal camera because I can't really show you the rest of the space until I set this up for you. So let me power this up, and we're just gonna plug it in real quick. Again, I got to figure out my battery situation. It's only so much you can do. And let's see here. There we go. All right. This camera is looking pretty dark right now because I haven't really done much with it. New question. Is this mostly live streaming or recording videos as well? Is this mostly for recording? Would you just pipe all this video feeds in OBS? So, 12 by 12 room? Yeah, give or take. Why, are you building one? It's about 12 by 12 room, yeah, which is plenty of space. let me see here. Crapster. So the way I record my videos isn't going to change much, for better or worse, right? So I record my videos in OBS. My live streams are in OBS. This is in OBS right now. My live streams are in OBS, like I said. My video recordings are also in OBS because I don't like to edit. I might change that, but for right now, I'm still doing my videos live in OBS as a live recording. I think there's value in that, and the reason why I think there's value in that is because I make mistakes like everybody else, and I think all too often when people do recorded videos where they go step by step by step, people enjoy those because it helps you work through the progression of your build, but what they don't show you are the mistakes they make, and they basically get shoved by the side. No one ever talks about them. I'm a firm believer that if I make a mistake, there's a possibility or a high likelihood that somebody else out there is going to make the same mistake. So I'd rather make the mistake once, let everybody know that I made that mistake, and have it happen on a recording, and then basically correct that mistake. Otherwise, you're gonna have a lot of people that make the same mistake that you made, and that's not a good thing, right? So yeah. So that's my answer to that. I use OBS for both my live streaming and my recordings. So. All right, let me see if I can switch over to, there. It's a little dark. Well, I think we can work with that. You guys can see it. I'm gonna get rid of the chat stream for that right there. So right now you're looking at my chat, and I'm going to drop everything down. And you can see my OBS, right? And you can see the back of my head. Nice, right? So this is my cart. And I don't want to mess with the video settings right now for that camera. And I know it's dark, I apologize. But, so I have my space here, keyboard, mouse, my Stream Deck, my double monitor setup. I have a tree here with cameras, multiple cameras. I have a secondary microphone. I have a light on this bench, so when I do videos, as well as speakers, in case I do my audio recording. And this whole bench is actually drawered with all my things on it. And this is a simple Husky bench that I had before, but I've repurposed it, installed the computer on it, and it's all on wheels. So it moves with me. And why is that handy? Well, for one thing, let's crank this up a little bit. For one thing, and I gotta move this camera a little bit, it allows me to bring this bench over to here, and I'm gonna switch back over to my Sony camera. So I can move it back over here, and now I can be right here, along with my soldering station right here, so an over-the-shoulder sport type shot, and then work off of here and kind of have a little corner here of all my stuff, which is kind of nice. So I can literally have computers here, a screen over on the back side, soldering over here, and then if I wanted to fold up this keyboard mouse, I have additional workspace, okay? So second to that, and while we're doing this, I'm going to try to rotate you and me at the same time, so this might look a little trippy, but you know, people like that type of thing anyways, right? Let me see if I can not get snagged up on something. Let me see. Stand by. And I got my back wall right there, and I know the angle's not shot properly, but if I was doing a video, some type of tutorial, something like that, this enables me to basically have a festive background with all the spools of filament back there, which is kind of nice, right? Wall's not completely done back here, but at least it's not looking at the same thing over and over again all the time. Let's see here. Nuno's here? Hey, it is Nuno. Nuno's here. And hey, I'm Hey Dad. My daughter Haley is here. If everybody wants to say hello to Haley, feel free. How's everybody doing? Everybody's doing good, you know, including me. It's been a long time, so I'm a little bit sketchy here on this whole thing, but I've been going over the room. If you have questions about it, let me know. Right now we're working off of our wheel cart where I can move it around any portion of the room and kind of work with different backdrops and different things so things don't get boring. So that's kind of nice, right? So yeah. How are you? You're finally back streaming. Yay! Yeah. And this is another just chill and chat. But yeah, so you're gonna have to go back and see the tour if you want it. Welcome, Jessica. Haley. That is correct spelling for Haley Robert. Doing great, correct. Kermit's back. Yes. So with that backdrop behind me with those spools of filament, by the way, they're not all Polymaker like seemingly every other YouTube streamer has back there. One of the things I've been doing, you know, on my off YouTube time is playing with different filaments, and I found some pretty good deals. Some different manufacturers and whatnot. Polymaker still makes some great stuff. If I pan this up some more, you'd see another whole row with Sparta and some other stuff up there as well. But yeah, been doing that as well. Let's see here. Let's see here. Guess who's back? Back again. Back. Tell a friend. Yes. Now that I've given everybody a tour, does anybody have any questions about my space? Not my space or Facebook, but you know, my space as in my building space. Other than the fact that I don't have ceiling, it should get a little bit brighter in here too once I put the drop ceiling in, which is going to be white with the sunlight lights that are going to be in it. Yeah. Any additional questions on that? If not, I'm going to continue. I will continue to look at the messages over there. Got it right this time. But I want to talk a little bit about what's coming up this winter for the folks that like to watch my builds. Let's see here. Nothing yet. Look great. Look more videos. Yes. So there are a couple of things that we're working on here, or I'm working on, I should say. Not short of things that we are doing. First and foremost, I have a new filament dryer. It's coming in probably next month. Really excited about that. It uses a piezoelectric or piezoelectric system to basically use a little tiny bit of electricity to keep the interior of it dry, and then basically has an evaporative cooling system in the back side of it. So not really going to need it too much in the wintertime, but it'll be great to have here in the summertime, especially for those filaments that require that, because I'm going to start playing more with PC as well as some other materials that require some drying. Nylon's a big one, PC is a big one on that too. And then on top of that, we are going to be doing or working on the R2 rebuild of the other Voron 300 2.4 that I have. All the parts are here for that. I put it on hold. I have not been doing it off stream or off camera or anything like that. Again, it's something I want to do. I've been contacted over the course of summer with people that are doing builds. I've been answering questions to them, so it's going to be nice for them to have another build to work off of, even if it's not exactly like the last build I did, because who wants to do the same build twice? Let's see here. What fryer is it? I will show you in a second. Let's see here, dryer, fryer. Sun2, no, Sun2, I have a small Sun2 dryer in the corner. It pretty much is a mug warmer in a plastic enclosure. I mean, it does one filament roll. It would keep it warm. It's not sealed enough to really do much, I don't think, but I got it, I tried it, I did a quick video on it. It looks cool. Let's see here. Do a quick video comparing CNC Tap 1 versus the new V2. Robert, funny you mentioned that, and I think maybe we talked about that. Chaotic Labs contacted me last week asking me if I was interested in doing a review of the new revision of the CNC Tap, and I obliged. I told them I would do it. they want me to do a full installation video of it, which is very timely because my 2.4 R2 that we just built, I've stripped out the screws, the M2.5s, I think they are on it. So I do have spare parts. I'm going to fix that before that happens, but it's going to be interesting. I'm going to do a full comparison of the CNC Tap R1 versus the R2 versus the, what is the current revision? R6? R8, I forget, of the printable tap. So we're going to do a three-way tapation. We're going to tapation it. So yeah, tap off. It's going to tap, tap, tap. We'll be tapping them all. Let's see here. Tap off. They have a new one coming out. They backed on Kickstarter. Well, you're talking about the version 2 from Chaotic Lags and from another manufacturer, Mark. Sunlu S4 seems pretty nice. Yeah, so the Sunlu and a lot of the other dryers that are out there basically just use a resistive let me get it. Why not? You guys are asking about it. That's why we're here, right? It's a little dusty actually because I've been working down here. So the Sunlu, this is a single filament spool unit. I've unplugged it from power, obviously, but it basically just opens up. There is no type of sealing in here, really. It's just an overlap type seal on it. So when it closes, it's like that. So it's by no means airtight whatsoever. And in the base of it, there is a resistive. Focus on something. A resistive coil of wire that is on a metal backplane to produce heat in here, and then basically there is a hydrometer of some sort to tell it, or whatever it is, to tell it how much water or how much moisture is in the air on the inside of it, so it only runs when needed. But there's not much else. There's no real fans or anything in there. There is a top portion of it too, so it's pretty much like a little miniature toaster for a spool of filament that's just going to radiate heat on it, and in the most simple way you could think of. I haven't looked at any other Sunlu products. The one I'm getting is actually from Chris at KB3D. Let me see if I can find real quick. Now I have to get back and catch up with some of these chat things, but let's see here. He did it in a group buy, and let's see here. Where are his group buys? Where are right here? Current and past group buys. There we go. Let me switch over to that. So it is this guy right here, and basically, let's see here. We'll get a picture of it right there. So that's what it looks like. It'll hold 3 to 4 spools on the slide and then a couple more on the bottom. It has an automatic, ooh, there we go, big. It has an automatic, or not an automatic, but it has a filament feed through glands on the top section here, controls on the front. And then a closable door here. And it's pretty rigid. It's not small, but it's meant to basically protect your investment if you have some expensive filaments or if you have some prints that you want to make sure come out perfect. So that is coming soon. I'm pretty excited. Let's see, 34, what else here? And back panel. So you can run it through the top or through the back. Yeah, anyways, enough about that. Let me get back to this. Let's see here. Yes, Peltier effect, exactly. Does cooling and heating. Well, when you make heat, you have to have cold. When you have cold, you have to have heat, right? New S4 is supposed to be way better than the previous ones. I'll have to look at it. Let's see, Fancy, that's a monster. It is a monster, but there's something bigger coming soon. And expensive, I bet. Well, it's, on the group buy, it was about $400, give or take. Oh, actually, let me go back to the screen. People that didn't quite catch what we were talking about when we were talking about how it does its heating. So as opposed to just using a coil on it, it does use the Peltier effect. So basically it's going to be cold in the back and then warm on the front, and then there's a condensation section here, and then basically absorption sponge, and then basically back into the air of the room that's in. So it runs basically it's more of a turtle as opposed to a rabbit. So what you probably would be best to do if you're looking at something like that, and I'm sure Chris is going to do another group buy with him again, probably next few months, I'd guess. And they're just big. He just doesn't have a lot of room to store them, so that's why he does them as a group buy. But basically, you run this all the time. You keep your filament in it. Probably what I'm going to do is I have a dry box right now with some of my polycarbonate and some higher end stuff, except for that Snow Labs PC back there. But I'm going to put them all in the normal kitchen oven, you know, at about 180, 200 degrees. Probably a little below that. Probably about 150 to 180 degrees Celsius. And trying to remember if that's right. I'm thinking Fahrenheit. I get confused. So anyways, to dry them out before I actually put them into the dry box. So I'm going to pre-dry them, put in dry box. Dry box will keep them dry from there on out, because that's what it's meant to do. Let's see here. Careful to talk about the cost. Haley might still be listening. Oh, Haley gets her own stuff. Haley gets plenty. So anyways, so that's one big thing that's coming. So we got the rebuild of the R2 for the 300 that we're going to do videos on. We have that's coming, and that's going to require some minor assembly, but it's going to be cool. We'll do a video on that dry box if you're interested in having something like that. If you're looking to up your game a little bit, bring it to another level, that's going to be something you're looking for. But the big thing that I'm kind of not really announcing here, but want to talk about, and I got to find the right place for it. It is, let's see here. It is something called the black box. Now, if you know what the black box is, please let me know in the comments right now, because it's a pretty special printer. Nick knows about it. Of course, Nick knows about it. You've been following the Twitch stream that Chris has been doing. But Chris actually did do a full build on the stream. Black box is cool, I agree. Didn't do a full build stream, so we're going to do a complete build stream of the black. We're going to do a full build stream of the black box, soup to nuts, from unboxing the packaging to assembly, all the way through to the first prints. And then the unit that I'm going to be building is going to have 3 tool heads on it. Sounds mysterious. Yeah, a little bit. They put them on airplanes, yes. So it is not that type of black box. It is not a recorder. It is more of a maker thing. So let me see if I can bring up, see if I made a note specifically on the black box. And let me do this real quick. So fun to do stuff live. Let's see here. All right. Let me bring it up. All right. I have to go back here in time to get my links. All right. So I'm going to show you guys something that's not live yet on KB3D's website. So don't try to go there and do anything with it, because it's not going to do anything for you. Yeah, so I'm going to go over, I'm going to bring myself into the website here, so bear with me. So what the black box is a very robust 5 or up to 5 tool head tool changer printer. Looks something like that. Basically this, as opposed to having changing filament or a way of filaments changing, has 5 individual tool heads on the printer. And what that allows you to do basically is print with 5 different materials, print with 5 different colors, or anything in between. This printer has water cooling as opposed to fans to keep things cool, which is just crazy to me, but you know, hey, we're going to do it. is a very, very interesting printer. Also, don't pay much attention to the pricing here. This is all preliminary stuff. The printer is not being launched till probably, well, we'll say the mid next month. Supposedly it's supposed to be the end of this month, but if you do order one, please wait till the middle of next month so I can make sure I get mine first. So it's not going to be a cheap printer. It's going to be relatively expensive. Let's see, great for high temp stuff. I like this much better than the AMS. Yes, so unlike an AMS, which requires a lot of purging and things like that, if you have a finely tuned black box printer or a tool changing printer in general, you do have the opportunity to, depending on how good or bad or how much you're worried about it, but you do have the opportunity to basically print without purging. And there's KB3D. Oh, look at that. Chris, you're like Beetlejuice. You just show up. Let me get back into my notes here. So it's actually great that Chris is here. I didn't know if Chris was going to make it or not. So Chris, hey, glad to have you here. I actually talked to Chris. We did a live 101 video the other day. Chat actually to talk about this black box, because this is kind of my release that I'm going to be building it, and it's me locking myself into building the black box printer. So yeah, so Chris, hello, how are you doing? Let's see, if you have one nozzle, you're kind of limited to one type of material. Yeah, kind of. Yeah, I agree with that. So yeah, that's actually another point too. So not only can you have different materials and different tool heads, or different colors and different tool heads, but you could have different nozzle sizes on different tool heads depending on what you're doing. You know, you could have a 0.4 and a 0.6 millimeter depending on what you want to do. You can go crazy with this stuff up until the point where, you know, this is still a hobby printer where there's going to be mods. It's going to be a growing community of things that happen around this printer, even though there is a fledgling community already around it. Chris is just working on perfecting a kit for it. And I'll get into who some of these parts are coming from, because it's kind of like a all-star team of parts. But we talked about quickly about doing some type of small laser tool head on this, which you could do. You possibly, I guess, maybe, sort of. I don't really, it'd be a little bit more difficult, but a very, very small spindle on it if you wanted to. But definitely laser, definitely different materials, different size nozzles and stuff like that. Let's see here. Looking for a higher temp printer for the office, so we'll have to look into it. Gary T, you should look into it. This is a water-cooled printer again, so according to what I've been told from Chris, you shouldn't have any trouble printing in the 300-degree area if you choose to do so. Petri supports PLA, so yes, you could do PETG supports for PLA, or you could do the dissolvable supports. Now, talking about PLA real quick, this is something that Chris mentioned toward the latter part of our conversation, but it's important to note, is that because this is a water-cooled unit and the part cooling fan is relatively small, the performance you're going to get with PLA is okay, but it's not. This isn't a printer made for PLA. This is not your non-heated or lightly heated bed with huge blower fan for PLA printing. This printer is more geared towards ABS, PC, ASA, PETG. You know, your carbon infused filaments, some of the special stuff that you can get out there, nylon if you choose to do that. So basically your higher temp, your mid temp printing materials, PLA, if you don't have a ton of cooling, sometimes doesn't do so well, but you can still print PLA with it. You're just gonna have to take it slow and basically run the cooling fan on this on, you know, maximum all the time to get it there. But we did talk about also having some type of bed cooling solution. So again, there'll be mods for this printer that come out, so PLA might be a material that works with it a little bit better moving forward. So let's see here. 300 by 300 by 275, yes, pretty close to that. It is actually, let me look at my notes real quick. It is 300 by 300 by 260 ish. 260-ish. That was a rough number that we got during the video that we talked about. And Chris, if I say anything wrong, please do correct me. You've been working on this. This has been a labor of love, if you will, to get this together. Nylon carbon fiber, if you are insane, yes, or if you want to build some really strong parts. I would love to be able to print some carbon fiber nylon for mounting, for me personally, for mounting camera stuff and things like that. I would have a use for that. So, drones or things like that. That's always been a goal of mine, is being able to print double materials for drones. Like, for example, if you're into the hobby at all, being able to do like a nylon carbon fiber body, but basically do a surround of that body with like a TPU or something. So if you hit something, it's not like a really hard static hit. It'd have some softness to it. Let's see here. I'm sure you could do a CPAP if you really wanted to. Could you do a CPAP? You could do a CPAP. Yeah, you'd have to pretty much start from scratch, because I don't think anybody's doing that yet. I guess, yeah, you'd have to do a CPAP. It'd have to be on the actual gantry, not on the tool heads, because that would be a pain. You'd have a bunch of CPAP for that. Yeah, Beard Air, that's what we talked about. Hey, thanks, Chris. Appreciate that. I don't know who got them, but cool. So anyways, let's talk a little bit about this. What I'm going to do is I'm going to bring up the black box configurator on my screen, and meanwhile I'm going to bring up the notes I have for this unit from Chris on my other screen so I can talk about it. And I want you guys to have something to look at while I do this, because it can get pretty boring me talking about specs. I don't want this to go way out, so I'm not going to talk about this for the next half hour. I'm going to talk about 5 or 10 minutes, and then we'll talk about some other stuff, and then we'll jump back into it here. So let's look at what we got. All right, so like I said, this is not up and live yet for use, but this is what the configurator is going to be. This is going to be a fully configurable machine. This right here are your base products in your kit. So these are basically the items that are in the kit no matter what you do. This is what you need. This is your base kit. This is your BOM. This is just what you need before you even start anything. After that, you have additional required items. So based on what you're specifically doing, what your specific build is going to be like, you're going to basically select how many of these types of things you need. That would be inclusive to things like how many tool heads you're going to have and things like that. Now, build time on this printer, if you're not me and you're not videotaping the whole thing, is about 20 to 30 hours of raw time. Now, for most people, that translates probably into 2 to 3 weeks, possibly into a 4th week, depending on how quickly you're able to build. And that is assuming that you have a couple builds under your belt. This is not a build for the person that has never built a printer before. This is for somebody that has a good working understanding of printers in general. It might be their first Core XY printer. It could be their first RepRap running firmware computer, because this does use a Duet, but definitely not your first build 100%. The harness, so one of the big pain points, and actually I'll come back into this for this, one of the big pain points that people have that Chris has realized, because he is on the other side of the fence in terms of being a seller, is harnesses. Crimping ain't easy. And I swear I'm the first person that said that. I actually named the video like 3 years ago. But anyways, crimping ain't easy. So once you get the knack for it, it's great. And I think everybody should get the knack for it. Everybody should practice it. But it's one of the more difficult things to do. And because of that, Chris is working directly with Lineo to provide a plug and play, 100%, not going to have to change this end or extend this wire or do this or do that. 100% plug and play Lineo harness for this when you go to build it. So that's going to be awesome. So like 700 hours for procrastinators like myself. So Gary T, 700 hours, that includes the procrastination time, then yes, but the actual build time would still be approximately 20 to 30 hours, and I'll say 40. just because enjoy yourself when you're doing it. You know, don't rush through it. Anyways, so yeah, so this is not your first print, and I don't think a lot of people that watch my streams are on their first print, especially the live streams. But if you are, go ahead and, you know, get another build under your belt, and you can work through Chris or Fabrico or any other of the people that sell the LDO Voron kits. I think those are really good for those types of people. So the configurator is going to be working at launch, and then we talked a little bit about custom parts. So there's a lot of custom machine parts on here, and I want to basically bring everybody's attention to this right here. This is obviously the black box KB3D, but Mandela Roseworks is actually working hand in hand with Chris to manufacture these parts. Now, if you did not see my videos where I installed the Mandela ultra flat mag bed on my printer and how impressed I was with those parts and the machining of those parts, go back and take a look at that, and don't take my word for it. Actually look at the parts in the videos. They are awesome. They do an awesome job with all the parts I've seen, so I couldn't expect anything less with these particular parts for this printer. So that's pretty awesome. So far we got Lineo, we got Mandela Roseworks. The bed also is going to be a Mandela. So machine parts from them is going to be pretty cool. Don't forget about the Becker. We'll talk about the Becker later. All-wheel drive, two-wheel drive, just curious. So two from the get-go, and I don't know, Chris, if you're still around, if there's any thought of doing a AWD and all-wheel drive on that. Might be overkill. So let's see here. So we have that. We have this. So hot ends. Let's talk about hot ends real quick. At launch, it will be basically capable of using the Copperhead, the Revo, or the V6. Basically, it comes down to the heat break, getting into. Let's see here. It comes down to the heat break. Nope, that's the bomb for that. Where are we? I'm trying to find. Yes, heater block, type and quantity, Copperhead heat block. No, that's the actual heat block. I'm looking for the heat sink. I won't look too long. We'll see if we find it. If we don't, we don't. So basically, it comes down to basically having to thread the heat sink onto the water cooling system that's on this printer, and at launch, again, this will be able to do the Copperhead, the Revo, and the V6. That being said, back to what Nick had said a second ago about the Pecker. This is using a sex bolt, or a modification of a sex bolt, an actual 60mm one, for your bed leveling. So, or not bed leveling, but your Z offset. So you'll have that on there. The frame on this unit is going to be a 40x40 or a 40/40. So you're talking about really robust, really thick frame on this thing. The printer, I don't have an exact weight on it, and I don't think Chris gave me one, but he explained to me that it was heavier than anything he really wants to lift on a daily basis or weekly. So while we're talking about that real quick, and we talked about the filament dryer, and Chris, people asked if you were going to have another buy on that filament dryer. So, and then I will say this too, if you get a hold of Chris, if you already have like a working relationship with Chris, something like that, he told me that he usually orders a couple extra ones. So if you are interested in getting that filament dryer, you can just reach out to him. He might be able to hook you up. If not, he'll let you know when. Every May we run one. Every May he runs one. Okay, so every May he runs a group buy for that filament dryer. So if you're interested in that, you can do it in May, and if Chris still has a couple left, you can try hitting them up for him. But anyways, the reason I was getting into that is the plan is from Chris eventually here is that filament dryer to be a stack on with this black box printer. So that's going to be pretty cool, utilizing a really thick frame. So having something like that base with that printer on wheels, it's going to be more of a commercial type design product. Definitely something you can have in your home, but definitely something that you can get some good use out of. We were talking about manufacturing, we talked about Lineo, we talked about Mandela Roseworks, iGUS chains on this thing, Gates belts. Duet is going to be providing the brains of the system. LDO motors are in there. It's going to have the min-max heater inside of it. Yeah. ABS parts. So one of the questions that always comes about when you talk about these things is, you know, how many parts or how much parts is it going to require? First estimate, it's going to be about 2 kilograms of ABS to print the parts for this. And I would assume that Chris would be okay with me saying that you can print those parts in ABS or ASA. And he did mention actually on this particular printer that you'd be fine using a polycarbonate or carbon fiber polycarbonate for it as well. It'd actually be a little bit preferred. If you're coming from the Voron side of things, that's actually kind of frowned upon on some of the parts because of cracking and things like that. But Chris says, you got it, do it. It's a 24-volt system. You can do anything from a single head on this to 5 heads. Meanwell, 350, you know, another great manufacturer. Meanwell, 2 DC-DC converters. You can get 5 volts, you can get 12 volts in it. Optional Pi inside the unit. And here's another big one that people struggle with. I talked about the crimping, and crimping ain't easy and all that stuff. But I think just based on the comments and questions I get constantly, the second, actually, it might be the first. I don't know if it's the first or the second, but one of those two is configuration of software. So out of the box, from the build, from the repository, the Git that's going to be up for this, you're going to have a drag and drop configuration for this printer. So, you know, you'll have to do a little bit of fine tuning here and there, but for the most part, it's going to be a drag and drop. It's not going to be building from scratch when you go to configure your printer. So that's going to be really nice. So, yeah. It's going to be a complete PDF guide for this unit, as well as a Fusion 360 file, so you can go in there and kind of see everything, see where everything's going. Again, I mentioned before, but it's going to be water cooled. Let's see what we got for questions here. Have you tried any Peak yet? Let's see here, Gary. No, we need to do a pan. Sure, like you the chamber, support that. Yeah. So. And again, this is going to be a moddable printer. It's not an off-the-shelf printer, and it's not kind of some of the hobby printers that are out there right now. It's a new thing, but you know, having a chamber heater is probably within the midst of things that could possibly happen. What else we have? Oh yeah, so for end stops, we're looking at Hall effects on this printer. So no mechanical switches there. A little bit more reliability, if you will, and those are all 100% adjustable based on what I saw. The printer itself does not going to launch with a hat on it, so then that kind of plays into that last question that we had there about doing Peak. At launch, it doesn't have a hat, but a hat is going to be coming probably in the spring. Did I make a date on that? Early 2024, I wrote. So you're going to have a complete printer. It's going to have the side panels, everything like that. But the hat itself, because the way Chris wants to do it, and being a perfectionist, he wants to have some mechanism there to make it easy to open and close. That will be coming a little bit later. There is a black box Discord and some other things in there, and I'll put some links in that stuff down in the description eventually on the video. And we already talked about the build volume, whatnot. Good. Let's go back over here real quick. So this is going to be a complete configurator here, and I'd be willing to bet that it's probably going to be a little bit difficult to figure out or to get your head around exactly what you need. But Chris is going to be available. This is, again, kind of like his baby. He's going to be working with people, and if you've ever worked with Chris before, you know that he has a high availability of people that need his help when it comes to sourcing the parts they need for their printers. So really excited about that. Let me do this real quick. And let me see. Chris, are you interested in coming into the stream at all? If you are, I can pull you in if you like. We can do it via the Discord or some other way. It's up to you. I'm not going to keep this too long of a stream, but if you have any additional things you want to talk about, or if you want to show the printer, I have no problem trying to bring you in. So let me know. So we talked about the dryer that's coming in. We talked about the rebuild. We talked about the black box. The black box is going to be one of those video series that's going to take me obnoxiously longer than it should take you to build it, just because of the way I'm going to be building it. But I'm hoping it's going to be as detailed as possible so people can use it. There's everybody. If you're still here after obsolete, otherwise they'll hop in the future too. Yeah, no problem. I'm not going to keep this going too much longer. So if your dinner's ready, I probably will not be here when you come back. So everybody say goodbye to Chris. Peak is pretty crazy to print. Every once in a while, Nero 3D plays around with Peak in a modified Voron on stream. Usually toolhead falls off or something else drastically happens. As long as the toolhead doesn't catch fire, I think he's all set. It's a little bit of a small joke there, I guess. Let's see here. So being that I haven't done a stream in a month or so, and being that I've already showed everybody the whole room and kind of my new setup here, I guess, what do you guys think? You guys ready for some new videos, some new streams, and some fun? Hopefully you like what you see and everybody's good. Let me know. And I don't know, anybody have any questions? Bring it, Robert says. Robert's always good. So there's a core group of people on here that I talk to quite a bit outside of these streams. I talk to them on the Discord, usually messages. So for anybody that's on here that doesn't have a working talk with me or has questions that they want to ask me, I'm available on Discord. I'm available via email. Also answer all the questions in the comments of my videos, usually within 24 hours, if not less. And all that information is also available on my YouTube channel. So, yeah. So, looks like everybody's saying goodbye to Chris. No one cares about me. Everybody cares about Chris. Chris, come back. We miss you. Yeah. The 2.4 rebuild starting up again soon. Yes. Now that I've gotten to a spot where I can actually work, I don't have a ceiling in yet, so I'm going to be piecing away at that. But I don't think that's going to impede me from actually working on that 2.4. And I'm really excited about being able to spread stuff out and actually do some good work on that. Having the camera over here on the slide, it's going to allow me to basically have the frame going, have other stuff going at the same time. So hopefully, I don't want to speed along the build any quicker than it has to be, but at the same time, I think it will allow me to do the build at a more progressive speed in terms of doing it at a speed that I would do if I was actually building without recording it, because I'm not constantly trying to clean stuff up and then put stuff down. So that'd be cool. Interesting CAN bus. Yes, we're going to do CAN bus on this one. In case people know, this unit actually is going to be doing CAN bus. We're doing CNC tap on this as well. We're going to be using some Chaotic Labs idlers as well as tensioners on this. It's going to, what else is it going to have? It's going to have the big TreeTech 7-inch screen on it. It's a bunch of cool stuff. Yeah, it's going to happen soon. So, well, unless anybody has any additional questions, I think this has been a good lapse back into a quick live stream here. Kind of had some quick fun. Chuck, you haven't even talked yet. Good to see you again. Changed from Pi 3B to a Pi 4 and boots to an SSD on the Voron 2.4. Pi 3B was borrowed Pi from my yeah, so Pi 4, a lot of people talk about Pi being way overkill, and I agree it is until you start adding cameras and such to it. I found that I was actually having an issue with, because I had two 4K cameras, or I had a 4K nozzle cam and a 1080p camera on the Ultibib, and the Pi sometimes had trouble keeping up with all that, especially once you add in the touchscreen on the front of it. So I have a couple of Pi 5s coming, so that'll be something we'll talk about too, is the new Pi 5. If you're not aware, that's not necessarily in the wild yet, but it's coming soon. And then in terms of booting from an SSD versus a compact flash card, that's a trick I learned a long time ago before it was something you could do easily on the Pis. So as it would turn out, compact flash cards aren't so great if you're reading and writing from them a lot. They don't like that. So doing an SSD is not a bad move, especially with the cost of an SSD these days. You can get a cheap SSD pretty cheap. Cheap SSD pretty cheap. I can come up with better words than that. Mark, looking forward to it as well. Are they out, Robert, or they've been announced? Because I have a pre-order on some. I haven't seen them yet though. Did you do filament printer? There you go. Sorry for the delay. Oh, no worries. I'm hospital based here in Australia. Pre-order only as far as, yes. So yes, I have my pre-order in for those. But I'm excited to get them as well. Yep. So, I'm not going to drag this out any further than I need to. I'm going to say goodbye here momentarily, and if you didn't catch the beginning of the screen when I gave a full tour, please go back and watch the video. There are some kinks in the beginning of the video, but at the end of the month, I think. I hope so. But you know, bear through it. I was adjusting some speed adjustments and stuff like that, so great. So anyways, yes, Gary, Robert, Sid, who else is on here? Nick, if you're still here. Let me bring up my thing so I can see who is here. Mark Davis, Chris, who we know left, maybe he's still playing in the background, I don't know. Jeffrey, Herbert, Chad, Brent, Daniel, Shadell, who else we got? Who else we got? Happy, Nuno, if you're still around, I don't know. So all the people that I just mentioned on top of you, if I did not mention you, I appreciate you guys coming by and hanging out for a few minutes. I'm really excited about getting my streams back up and doing some more videos for you guys. If you have questions, comments, or anything like that that you'd like to see on my channel, please let me know. If for nothing else, I'm probably the most passive person when it comes to kind of doing what people want me to do. So again, if you have any questions, comments, anything, let me know. We'll work it into a video, something like that. And with that, see you later.